Good evening, folks. Welcome. Taking you to Nima County this evening. Today is Friday. Good evening. Welcome to all our folks. Mr. Wilson Board. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome to Lion Tenyakun, one of our strong and important listeners of the Liberia Public Radio. Good evening. Welcome to the show. If you are from Nima County, we say good evening. Welcome. That's a battleground state, keeping the proportional right here on the LPR, Liberia Public Radio, fair balance, keeping the culture of the nations alive world. Welcome to the show. The calling King Morris from Nima County. He's here making a contribution here this evening. We will get the program rolling very shortly. Just bear with us. What a beautiful song here this evening. I hope someone can give the interpretations. Welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Z and Sot of the Liberia Public Radio to LPR-TV. Welcome, Madam Dorothy. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Taking a ride to Nima County this evening. One of the battlegrounds counted in the country. We're going to be having a conversation here very shortly. Welcome to the show. All right, let's get the program rolling here, right here. Good evening, folks. I'm Alfonso Z and Sot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Today is Friday, keeping it nice, quiet right here in the East Coast. And I'm quite sure you are doing the same. Whatever you are, we want to welcome you to today's program. As usual, LPR-TV analysts, they are here this evening. We're going to be dissecting. We're going to be having a wide range of conversations. And let me put a stroller here to give you a sense what we're going to be talking about here. Let's discuss it all and speak our minds about it ahead of the October 2023 general elections and other cabinet issues in the country. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles Savit, Mr. Bango. These are our prime listeners, Teddy Pennant. I wonder whether this is the first time here, but if that's the case, we throw a red carpet welcome here. This is the diaspora informative news outlet, Liberia Public Radio, discussing issues of national concern, fair, balanced, objective, and proportional. We allow all to express their views, their opinions on this network. We do not sanction views. There's no view that is so horrible that we cannot listen to. It doesn't matter which political party, institution, but as a Liberian, you do have a shared responsibility to participate in the political discourse. That's the difference with the liberal and myself. When a liberal is here, he becomes so bitter. He calls names because there's some neverness in him. He wants to hear certain voices. And we hear it. With open mind, we do not encourage that. It doesn't matter. I don't have to agree with you with your opinion or your views, as long as it's been expressed in a civil context. This is what lacking in the political discourse in the country. I want you to listen to me, but I do not want to listen to you. How can we live in a society, a free society of such that we find ourselves in this sort of digital age and 21st century? The liberal is here to impose his will. I've begun to question his, I'm not sure what sort of, is he a real liberal? I don't know. When he comes on, he select names. Your come, your call, your call. We are not talking about his total, we're not talking about total, we are talking about a sovereign nation, the Republic of Liberia. And he takes it to be so personal. And that's why I get into the nerves of people, because when you're talking about a country, to open it up, get ready to receive punches and batches as well, just how we bash people. But when anybody tweets anything that does not favor him, the liberal becomes nervous, he becomes bitter, and he begins to fight back because he thinks he has the microphone. And I told you guys, I am here to put him into check. And I hope he will surface here this evening to defend himself. Well, our guy, they're going to be here very shortly. We want to welcome you to Mr. Gwed, just jumping into the fries here this evening. To Mr. Richard Yozita Siwant Jabeta and our man Jenington Dulake. By the way, Dulake is our senior analyst here. We're going to be coming to that. I will wish you a speediest recovery. He's not well, but notwithstanding, he's still keeping eyes on the ball. I want to call the hospital to take a phone, but he said, no, don't do that. Too much is ongoing. I need to be part of the process, the conversations. Our man, Dwalota from neighboring to Massachusetts, good evening. Thank you so much. Just jumping in. Oh, from Florida, Sunshine say, I'm coming on that side there, so hopefully if I come, I will have the time to see you. Welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Z, and so today is Friday. LPR Analysts Live. In the meantime, let's have a quick commercial commitment. These are the people that has given us help. Since the cash out there, number being here, nobody never get fasting because I'm not either cussing George Weah, I'm not cussing Ellis Comey, I'm not cussing Joseph Boyka, but that will not make us to do that. We will not do that. We'll try to keep it civil. We'll try to give everybody the fair responsibility. So it's a challenge here this evening. Who's going to break this yoke? I will be watching out to see what is something far that I said is okay. That anything, we take anything. Anything comes our way, we are grateful. We know what it means to work for your hard-earned money. Not that you are mean, but there's an apprehension because most of the fundings, financial help being given, it's not being used for the purpose. But we are trying. We want to make our presence as usual. We are preparing ahead of 2023 to bring you live happenings in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia, as there will be a decision day in the month of October. LPR and other network keeping track of what is happening. Stay tuned. Let's have a conversation here. We're going to discuss all here. Get ready. We're going to put a phone number out and you will participate. I am in charge. The Liberal is not going to sanction you today. Here, he's more or less powerless. I am running this show. Welcome. It's decision day in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia, and we are here let's go. Tomorrow is a big event in Newcastle, Delaware. BWR, the Tigers of BWR, will converge on Newcastle. We are here to report massive preparation. Delegates have already said tonight is the official openings of the traditional annual convention. Let's kick in this little commercial here. That's the treaty we signed with them, and we must keep that in place. I will be right back.
The entire line of social media is the Booker Washington Institute National Alumni Association of North America presenting to you 2023 National Convention in Newcastle, Delaware. Hey, the Tigers weekend long reunion will begin on Friday, June 30th, and from 8 a.m. straight up to 8 p.m. will be arrival of guests, registration, and hotel accommodation. Then 7 p.m. until 12 midnight will be the Tigers night out and Queen contest. Admission will be $20 only. Saturday, July 1st will begin with a General Assembly beginning at 9:30 a.m. straight up to 3 p.m. And that will be followed by the banquet and ball. Those open at 7 p.m. Address is 24 Blaine Vines Drive in Newcastle, Delaware. Convention package for members is $150, while the ordinary will pay only $50. And to our sweet and loving kind sponsors, we'll pay $100 only. And then comes Sunday, July 2nd, is the farewell cookout. This is when fellow Tiger gets to say goodbye to Tiger. And ladies and gentlemen, the cookout address is 156 Boyer Drive in Newark, Delaware. For more information, please contact Charles Babu 267-240-5487, Jacqueline Bush 678-410-7223, Carlo Miller 619-793-7941, Gentleman Hassan Tor 609-280-9051. Please don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this year's convention will be hosted by the Delaware Valley Chapter BWR. Come on, and let's jam the weekend away.
Okay, that's the Tigers of the Booker Washington Institute out there in Delaware this evening. If you are in the proximity of Delaware, specifically Newcastle area time, may your way there. Who knows, right after this program, I will be catching my flight. Hopefully, I do not miss my flight. If not, then let it leave your own with God. Okay, good evening. Welcome to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us here. Vincent, namesake Alfonso Aku, Asumana Keita, Oliver Albendora Port, good evening, of course, Arthur Sauer, Mr. Prince Peters. Thank you so much. Your commitment to this network cannot be overemphasized. Minister to Rondell Gow, all of you great people, as long as we go along the way, of course, Nettie Davis, good evening. Thank you so much. We have nothing to say, but we are just moved. But please, they say Jaffe made P5. When you see P in up interior, I know all of you, your country people, myself, the kind of we see chewing the all may want to break his jawbone, but I don't know food we can eat. I hope. I think I must be the liberator of prayer here. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Before the program comes to an end this evening, it's 8:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not going to close my eye because I want to see what's happening just in case there's a holy intervention. Before 10 p.m., this cash out, this Zelle, 682-433-8802. Father God, let a born baby tonight. And not just only baby, twins. Not just only twins, triplets. I want to see what happens. Welcome to the show. Let me go to Thailand. Our guy is standing by. Mr. Michael Weir is a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Is joining us from the kingdom here this evening to talk about his country, our country, and your country. Let's see here what's happening here. Too much is ongoing. There you see, Mr. Michael Weeds is joining us from the Kingdom of Thailand. He's a senior contributor to the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Good evening from the Kingdom. Is it morning time or evening time?
It's morning time, 7:24 as we speak.
Wow. 7:24, you said?
Yeah, 7:24 a.m.
It's 8:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see the beauty of the old man out there. Okay, good evening. Yeah, we can. Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully the other folks gonna join us, but we will also try to put the number out here to allow our viewers, our follower, to also express it. You know the traditions of this network. You've been here for a little while. How is your Friday going?
It's okay. Everything is okay.
Is it Friday morning or Saturday morning? Saturday morning, right?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
Yes.
Where are you going this Saturday morning with a red tie and stuff like that? Is what you're launching there and then primary going on in Thailand too?
No, I'm appearing on the show. That's why. No way I'm going.
I got you. I decided to keep it simple, nice here. It's Friday evening. The weather here is cool, and who knows after here Friday, after a whole week work, something can happen. So you never know. Nothing much really gonna happen, but as usual, go to work and get stuff done. But I appreciate it, and that's part of it here. We always try to look who we are, to be ourselves. On this network. It is very, very much important. I didn't know that until I got a phone call from Burundi. I got a phone call from Burundi one time, and this person happens to be, there are a lot of professional Liberians all over the world, right? A serial United Nations official.
Yes.
I was shocked. And this is why when people come to these public forum, your conversation is not just on your feet. You must understand that you are speaking to a broader society, not necessarily Liberians. And some of these people, they might not watch the live view, but I go back and see it because people are basically doing something. And it was early morning I got this call, and this person started talking. I just pick up from my Bluetooth. I mean, I don't reject call. You call, you have money. If I get it, I tell you, my man, I gotta do this one year. But the person's language, their tone, it was very much mature. The conversations were paused, and then I look at the number. That was a strange number. So I said, who is speaking? And he called his name. You see, I'm calling from Burundi. I'm a Liberian. I do follow your program and very other few programs. The civility, the conversation, the maturity that is exhibited on that network, I am impressed. And most of the time, we'll put it, or to get away that your device, you can connect it to your smart televisions, and there's other friends were there. But the conversation we're keeping, they were very, very much. Hi, Helen Ontai, good evening. Happy Friday. Thank you so much. These are our people. And this person started talking. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay. So yeah. No, I mean this diplomat started talking. I'm like, oh, really? So this is to suggest when we come to these places, we must look neat. You wear your t-shirt or whatever you wear, you can wear, make sure, be presentable, be yourself, and I'm happy that we have kept this tradition on this network, because whether we like it or not, besides the nomenclature itself, that's what I take into consideration. It speaks for itself. I don't care about what other people do. The nomenclature speaks for itself, and people can value you based on how you present yourself and all of that. So I am happy that we always now. You having party?
Sorry.
Anyway, I understand it's Saturday, so you started your Saturday morning. I got you, my brother. Okay. I got you. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the show as usual. Today is Friday. You're monitoring what is happening in Liberia, and the clock is eating. Our Woodland Cummings is here. We reached out to them. I personally reached out to them, to their organizer, and this is the selfish part of all of the parties. And this is so bad. And I understand people want secure area where they can go to do things. It does happen here in the country. There are certain people go to certain network. But when you're having a big event like this, supposedly a media institution reach out to them for their organizer, we have our own people because they don't want to spend down, or just give us the pass. They no, we have our own people already. So really, is that our own people thing, that how they're going to run that country? All of these political parties, you go to Unity Party, they get their own people. You go to ANC, they get their own people. You go to CDC, we get our own people. So we need to, do we need to find our own people? That's the only way they will listen to us?
Yeah.
Should we do that as well?
I don't think so, but with the media in Liberia, that's one of the problems that the media is faced with in Liberia. The regulatory
the event that is taking place right here in the U.S. That's the one that not Liberia business I'm talking about now.
Yeah, but
they have an event in Philadelphia starting today, tomorrow weekend, and all of that. So Mr. Harris, good evening. Morning, Hussein, good evening. Welcome. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you see, one thing is that due to the publicity that Facebook provides, sometimes most people wouldn't want to use the established media institution because there are costs that are attached to such, in using this institution. So most often they will want to go use some of the popular guys they have amongst them, and those guys will just volunteer to put the program on their pages live. That's one of the issues. But I think if you were to have a program that is meant to benefit all Liberians or the public, you have to use institutions that are established and trained to provide the information in a very good direction, in a way that the people are going to, consume that information betterly. So that's the issue. But I think also people have their own alignment with media institutions, and there are also people that are also within those organizations that own media institutions as well. So most often they will tell you They already have their people, and they don't need you, because if you go there, probably you will ask for, maybe you will give them a budget that they cannot meet up with. That's one of the problems, I think. And there are things also they are doing. They don't want to be criticized by outsiders also. That's what I noticed from some of these programs that are here, and whether in Liberia, whether in the US and other parts of the country, of the world.
So, do you think is some sort of political insecurity that could be part of what is? Of course, I live in Rhode Island. Even if I'm not going, we do have a base in Philadelphia, but nobody going to go there to do it. I mean, elections are costly. To be honest, elections are costly. So you don't expect me to take a care from here or walk here, and there's a Washington Bridge. Even the reporter that is in Philadelphia, of course, going to be attacked. But I try to open the box here and look at it from the bigger presence. Is it of a political insecurity because they want to? And if that is the case, is that a workable strategy? Why would you not want to broaden to your message? Whether people you feel that they're against your policy or you have some sort of apprehension, you're going to be open. Why you don't want to see people to see the other side of you to say, oh, we thought this guy or these people were XYZ, but see what they are doing. They are being more open. They are open up. They are transparent. They're sitting down with other people. Is that a good strategy?
Yeah, but one thing I want to bring to the attention of our followers and our listeners is that in most of the political parties, what sometimes they preach outside is not what happened within. They talk about dictatorship, and if you align yourself with some of these political party, you will understand that whatever they tell you outside, whatever they say against the government, they do the opposite side of whatever they say. Because, for example, maybe you have an election or primary or convention of a political party, and due to the manner in which delegates are selected outside of the framework or the constitution of that party, and you will find out that those who don't have much power in the party, they will complain, they will be complaining. But being that they don't want you to know, they cannot bring you to be a part of that program to broadcast. Because if you go there, you might likely hear some of these things, and you would like to bring some of these some of these, talking points to the public. And they don't want it like that, because they've been telling the public outside they are 100% clean. And within, there is a serious ranting, and there is a serious rambling. They ramble a lot over things that they should handle as a political institution. So in terms of the constitution, their constitution, though most of the parties have good constitution, you read, they will tell you, we do this, we do that. But when it comes to implementation, there is a problem. There have been series of problems amongst them. But you wouldn't know until you get closer to them. That's the time you get to know the bad side of what they do. Interestingly, sometimes there are positions that should be elected, and some political parties, due to the financial interest in certain people, he will tell them that this is the person that I need. And you cannot question it, because most of us in political parties, we don't even pay our dues. And we depend on one or two people in the party to sponsor the party.
Let me hold you right there. The conversation is about to get interesting and get a little bit dicey. This is LPR, Diaspora Informative News Outlet. Be the first to know. Usual, we are here. Our man from the kingdoms of Thailand is here, joining this conversation to keep a balance in his own view, in his own context. Is the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio. Interestingly, a card-holding member of the Liberty Party. He deserted his party left his party in turmoil, unable to resolve, to find a common ground, seeking political shelter with the opposition's Unity Party, and support the candidacy of His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Newman Boycott. The Liberal is here. I'm wondering whether he coming with his dog seat this evening here. I don't know whether the Abba Put or Rufo Dapo left those stuff with him. I'm waiting to see. Let me bring in here. The Liberal is here. Good evening, the Liberal. Is that, what's that, propose suit?
Good evening, Mr. Saul. Can you hear me? Yes, propose suit. I propose.
Okay, good evening, Liberal. How are you doing this Friday, my dear brother?
Wonderful. Thank God. But yeah, right now it's hard to be in the opposition camp. Very, very, very difficult to be in the opposition camp.
Bill Willie, you guys are not credible. Well, people who are not credible, you want to listen to them.
Then why you coming here to come watch us? We're not credible.
People don't have second thoughts when they're making their comment. You can disagree with us. I would not want to listen to anybody who is not credible. I can disagree with your statement, but to make those sort of statements,
that means Abba said they Abba not credible.
I think we are credible. That's why he's here. I don't think it's a slip of typing and whatever he did.
This is not the first time on our show anyway, so I know
I mean, today's Friday. Everybody got to chill. I just talking to my man Bill here. Don't can you going to take thing personal? I know you because he coming to car going with air.
No, people say are not credible that they are business. I know are credible.
That's my boy. Leave me alone. People are hold on. Hold on. Today is Friday. Hold on. Today is Friday. Hold on. You had your party yesterday. You were all like a wild geese all over the place, calling names and this and that. Today is Friday. Today is my day. You don't want to see the other side of this crime man from Biaya Johnson. You know that, right?
No, I know the play.
I have a cotton tree in my town. You know that. Okay, let me bring in legendary Sisse Goyo, guy who support the candidacy bill. Good evening. Thank you so much. Join us here. I know you can write whatever you write. We are okay, cool with this guy. That guy getting closer to the executive mansion. I know they flare here now. It's your own boy here. Something happening you.
You're getting ready. You're something else. You're in a pro country, Tawagi and Pambata. You're in a pro country, and the pro getting ready to celebrate their birthday. And they got all the country flag behind you.
We're getting ready to celebrate our birthday too. July 26th.
But yeah.
He doesn't know the history of his country, sister. He doesn't know. Let me welcome my own sister here, one of the glamorous, Madam Slangat. Marie, good evening. Happy Friday. Okay, guys, let's get to the point here. Sister, man, your guy is firing. Who was that guy that? Let's see. We want to discuss it all today. I saw him the while yesterday. He was speaking, and he sounded so authentic. I don't know yet, but one thing I said, we don't have no money to give you. But what we can give you, we give you quality education. You know, when you have politicians, people speaking from their guts, their real self, you get to know. But when you have those people who have this little chihuahua to be talking for them and they sit down and relax and they think, we just want to hand them the state power while they are in different world in isolation. And people telling us no matter why it is, we will put them there. That is sickening. Good evening, guys. Welcome.
But you are the same person right now talking about being
the
liberal calling people are and he ain't like for people to be authentic and state their view. But you're saying that people in like, bro, who said they will vote for somebody, even the person not qualified is sickening. How do you reconcile those two statements? On the one hand, you bash the liberal,
he's a sedition.
Okay, Tabata come here, but not Tabata going to liberal.
It's a sedition. That's what they do. They don't care to reconcile anything. They're sedition. That's what they do.
Wow.
July 26th is coming, man. I just had to put it out there.
There you go.
So let me make my point quick here.
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Thank God. And we'll continue to pray for our sisters in anyone that is in the hospital. We pray and that they will be fine as well. But to be opposition right now, I don't know. Hey, people, some of the people, the Google people, then they came in late. I don't call anybody new. They came in late. It people then want to come for time. I think something ever got, but they came late. So what we gotta do? So,
do I say the bro man? Welcome the bro man. Who the people came late?
I say I'm not calling anybody anymore. You come and ask me a question like in the courthouse here. It's Friday. Let's have good time here and let the people enjoy us tonight. I beg you.
At least they named their running mates. You know, we heard something good for them.
But
but why is that at least? I think that is a I don't know.
Well, at least
because you said it was not important. You said it was not important back then.
Who said that?
One of you don't know?
No, I don't know. I'm asking you. You quoting, so I want you to tell me who said that. Who do you attribute that?
Yeah. Your ally, one of your allies. You said,
look, man, let's elevate this conversation. Like, bro, it's way too important for us to be talking about a vice presidential running mate and saying at least. It is not an at least situation.
It is what?
If I say it's not at least, that means it's very important. It's way beyond at least.
Oh, but you said it was not important back then.
Okay, I
have never said that. Don't lie,
you were on the show when we raised the issue.
Talent, why you can't turn your camera around? Talent, turn your camera around.
There were countless tips.
Hold on.
I've never said it's not important. Hold on,
Talent, turn your camera around a little bit. Talent, turn your camera sideways.
Why are you calling the man Talent? You don't know his name?
What business is yours? Talent, keep going. Keep going. Turn it all the way. Not 90 or 80, 180, or whatever it is. Just turn it around.
I'm using a phone. I'm not using computer.
No, I know when you use the phone.
The phone they can't rotate it.
It's rotating, but it's having a problem.
Oh, okay. All right.
Leave it as it is. Okay, guys, let's have a conversation going. That's the beauty of this network. All who want another response.
Let's stay
long. Let's see here.
Stay too long here tonight. Some of our guys' birthday. I call it July 24 coming. Pamota and Kesali getting ready. I beg you don't come. Tabata here tonight. Tomorrow we got important thing. Tabagi everything everywhere waiting you.
Something to.
Mr. So.
You went to Grand Judea Convention. The cake call for you.
Why you coming bring no thing there outside?
Hold on one second. You came to Boston District, the cake good for you. We want to talk about our country for just 2 hours. You want to start complaining what you have not eaten before that you eat palm butter today. Why are you going to change it? You're going to change your name?
Me alone, no. Let's move on.
Okay, guys, let's have a conversation here. Look, it's quite interesting on the news coming out from front page. The ambassador who is about to leave the country is speaking. We are hearing Benedict Alexander Cummings is and his folks in the States. CDC nominate, finally, we saw this coming. I knew to some extent. Much question was in heard. He'd been campaigning. I'm not sure whether the media ever confronted him, which party, but we all know where he was the torchbearer of the ruling establishment. But it's it's known now that the sanctions minister is being nominated as a senatorial candidate for Mount Gibby County. This is quite interesting. Um, Based on what we see, we don't know here. There's no pool to justify this is how it's going to end at the end of the day, at the end of October here. But Nathaniel Mangale will be a factor from all indications if he's satisfied by NEC to participate in the process. Let's start with deliberate. Deliberate, is there any political damage in this one here? And will anybody listen?
No. United States government put their foot in your mouth. You sat here, the people look at it, they say, oh, they say, oh, I don't call it, the mayor here, they finish sanctioning us, they finish sanctioning us, they finish sanctioning Prince Johnson, then Prince Johnson go and pick somebody, and then the president become vice presidential candidate, we're going to carry McGee too. The United States, if you're going to be serious about these things, if you say anybody deal with any sanction person, that person will be dealt with, or the person themselves might, or even be sanctioned themselves, and then you have somebody who was held in the air by Prince Johnson as a presidential, vice presidential candidate. And then now you want CDC to sit down and not nominate Pumpkin Pie. That kind of thing. It will not. How you do it now? The U.S. government have put their foot in their mouth.
Okay, but I want to come to the other guys here. But where is the violation on the part? I think the embassy they have made that crystal clear. Does it have anything to do with?
The point is immediately when what is the consequence of Ambassador Baker vice presidential nomination? nominee or running mate. What the man is in cahoots with Prince Johnson, a sanctioned person who has been recognized by the U.S. Not only that, but they call him pay to play. And yes, still you're going to go, and then Ambassador Baker went and selected that person after Prince Johnson finished murdering the water, everything, associate himself with it. He said this is what's going to happen, and it happens. What is the consequence from the U.S. government? Nothing. Now, unless they're going to do a little on, but a CDC, I get CDC, they want to get it 100%. They have it right now to say, oh, this is what you're doing. Okay, we got our pumpkin pie. We're going to bring it on. So,
okay, quickly here. I want to expand on a little bit here. You as a librarian, is that something you frown on?
With the U.S., yes.
Does it have as a factor in any of your political decision making based on what you know happening?
Well, I'm not too sure. But I thought the United States government, on a very serious note, I thought the U.S. government would have been stern. I know
what you wanted them to do?
To tell the senior ambassador that came out and told us that the people say they put fast in the budget for this one, that one, and not there. They don't do that. The vice president, the ambassador was so clear in naming all of the ills on this government, and they sanction people. They sanction people in this government, and those people that are sanctioned, we were hoping that they would stay on the sideline. And the last thing they said in their sanction, I believe, was that anybody in Liberia that will do business with these people, sanctioned people, they themselves most likely might end up on sanction, or they will be dealt with. Now, fair point. Then we saw Prince Johnson, who was also sanctioned, and not only sanctioned, they classify him as being paid to play. He came out from day one that he brought in Jeremiah Kun to take over his party. The U.S. government didn't say anything about that. He's a senator. Then Prince Johnson, a week or so before they picked Jeremiah Kun, Prince Johnson was all over the place. How he gonna be here and be able to support that candidacy of a vice president candidate coming from Nima County, blah blah, all kinds of stuff. And Ambassador Wakai went and picked the same person whose hands was raised by Prince Johnson. In fact, they put he put a hand over a head as a chosen one.
The guy you support.
The guy that I support.
Okay, let me hold you right there. We're not going to roller skate here. It's going to be a little bit short here. Sister Goya, you listen to the liberal analysis. Is that a fair analysis? What you think of it? The guy you come on say this pocket partner is out of the zoo. It's out of the zoo already. So, Michael, you give me on the other side. I should move them.
In every developed nation, when animals escape the zoo, there's a way to get them back in the zoo. But the liberal is entitled to his analysis, however flawed I think it is. If we're Thailand today, I don't know which one happening.
Go ahead, let me get him off. I think we come back.
But the point I was trying to make is that the liberal is trying to compare not even apples and oranges, but apples and maybe cassava. One grow on top of the land, other one grow way underneath.
Maybe bitter ball.
Number one, in the sanction, the U.S. government through its embassy painstakingly stated that does not ban people from participating in liberal politics.
Right.
Okay. So that's the first piece. Now, when you try to compare the sanction of Prince Johnson and Prince Johnson's participation in politics with McGill, those are two different things. Number one, when Prince Johnson was sanctioned, he decided he was going to be chair of the Senate Committee on Defense. The U.S. government pushed vehemently against that through the embassy. What happened? Prince Johnson is not chair of that committee no more. The U.S. government sanctioned Prince Johnson, not the MDR. I hate to be the one on here defending the Unity Party, but because we want to be fair to everybody, I will do that today. The United States government sanctioned Prince Johnson, not his political party, not the MDR. So to kind of say that a guy who has been elected, I think twice or three times as a representative, I'm talking about Jeremiah Kuhn, ran three times and got elected, and ran once and got elected as a senator, to say somehow that this person does not have a political independence simply because of the political party he comes from and the previous leader of that political party, that is sad. Prince Johnson was smart, and I'll give that to him, when he removed himself from being the leader of the MDR. That allowed MDR to move forward, because MDR is a registered political institution in Liberia. They are allowed to continue. And by the way, the sanction did not say you cannot have these sanctioned people as your partisans either. So I think we try to drag this thing so much that says anybody doing business with this person to mean every kind of business. And that's not what the embassy was talking about, because the ambassador clarified that when he said that, that didn't mean that these people would not participate in electoral politics in Liberia. Because if we want to drag that, we can say, even the Bilabo woman I said in Bilabo now to Prince Johnson, she's doing business with Prince Johnson, she must be careful. You know? So that is not what the ambassador was saying. I think the CDC, McGill has the right to contest politics in Liberia. Mind you, McGill has not been found guilty in a court of competence jurisdiction in Liberia. The problem that CDC made it in their own problem. The president, under pressure, announced that he was going to investigate.
Right.
And to the end. And I remember back in the day, I think maybe my memory might be fuzzy, but I remember Cephas Serenos begging. In fact, he wrote a whole op-ed in one of the local dailies, begging to be investigated. Nathaniel McGill hosted international journalists and begged to be investigated. And the CDC did not investigate them. And now, what do you expect these guys to do? Miguel is still a citizen of the Republic of Liberia. By Liberian law, Miguel has not committed any crime. Miguel still has the right to run. The only problem is the optics. If you are here comparing yourself to Marabio and say Marabio won election in South Africa, in Sierra Leone, so we're going to win too, when in fact Marabio was prosecuting previous leaders and people who have committed a crime against the state, as far as corruption, putting them in jail. But you take your porcupine from the wild, put him in the zoo, and leave a little escape for him to come outside and say you'll be like Marabio. Y'all go eat a cake, man. Marabio gave people playing to rap. Y'all probably eating your cake.
And additionally, what we frown on here, I know we had this conversation. The liberal, he will put his foot in his throat this evening here. Sadly, he's not in charge. So you're not going to get a free pass here. The Sissy that you were a honeymoon with, Sissy is now flipping the table right in you. And I'm not going to give you no life jacket. So if you can swim, leave your own way go. But remember, we also talk about it. And I think the analysis by Sissy is quite in place. What we frown on was, and I know the president of the CDC government were international pressure was being mounted. Okay, it came from Uncle Sam. We do not know all of the details. We said this is what has happened. Was there any internal investigations on the part of GOL before these people here? Why led them? Because if you remove someone from in his or her position, two things, either administrative, and that administrative can be followed with an investigation, or already crime is being committed that you have evidence in your possession for which this person is being removed. And Mange, he faces the media. And the president came out to say that you're going to be investigated. So now the question becomes, what did the president or the government know? We didn't know, for which, even though it came from Uncle Sam, can we tell the US government now to say, oh, Mike Pompeo or whatever Trump doing now, so Trump shouldn't participate in the election because he has been accused. He has not gone to court. He has not been something. He's been indicted, but he's going to have his day in court. So why was this guy, on what grounds was he removed when he was not given the day in court? Let me go to the Kingdom of Thailand. Marcos Oye is here. Marcos, is that a fair analysis? My guess should contest. No investigation. He asked for it. Nobody else put anything in place. Was that calculation by the establishment? Is that something they were trying to walk a fine line to make sure that they don't hurt their base? We all know Mange was the driving force of the president's agenda, and he was really moving before this whole wrath of Uncle Sam descending upon him. Now he wanted nomination. I knew this was going to happen because, you know, he knows how to play his card. But let me just bring you in here. You listen to the liberal, you listen to Sissy, plus the piece that I added. What is still lacking?
Thank you very much. And let me also say thank to the previous analyst concerning this issue. But I think by law, whether in the US and other parts of the world, crime is not transferable. So I may commit a crime and my children cannot be arrested because whatever I've done. It was during those days, during the jungle justice time, wherein if they came to arrest you and you were not there, they will arrest either your brother or your sister to hold in. You know, we saw those things happening because people were not following the law. But how be it, the issue of Mange and the other individuals, other Liberians that were sanctioned by the United States government is something that is tricky because they've said anybody doing business, it is not something that another person might understand it to be anybody associating with them. Anybody associating with them will have issue with the US government. No, somebody, I'm saying somebody might interpret it in that manner. You understand? Another person could say that anybody that would decide, any political institution that would decide to support any of these people for an elected post will also have problem with the US government. So the issue of anybody that that does business with these people will find themselves in jeopardy with the U.S. government. It is something that is tricky. So it requires a man or a strong woman, especially with the kind of alignment, the kind of belief that we have in the United States government. It's something that is very, very important to consider. Because I think also CDC, before taking that decision, they sat down and they weigh both sides. They weigh both sides because they cannot let Mangeto go because they know the importance of Mange. They know they know where he took the party from and where he brought the party. So they know. So if you have Margibi County and then choosing somebody over Mange, the only thing CDC would have done maybe not to support somebody in that particular county. But if they are to support anybody and Mange is in the race, they will not leave Mange out to support another person. So that is clear. So the issue of the same United States government, okay, you sanction Prince Johnson. And Prince Johnson, you say he can be, those who are sanctioned can go for a elected position. But you said you kick against him being the chair on the Senate Committee on Defense and Veteran Affairs. So, I mean,
so let me hold you right there, because there seems to be, and people perhaps on purpose do not want to understand the context in which the American were speaking about. Now, they are speaking in a very specific tone, in that tone of it, in a diplomatic tone. Remember the defense, America and US shared intelligence, the Interpol and all of that. The America gave aid, military and all of that. And as a defense chair, when they feel that you have violated their law or there's some sort of violation already taking place, that confidence is no longer there to share any intelligence. So it is in that context. I want to be in a broader context. That was the American we're talking about. And into business that has to do with the American government. Now you, as a president, doing anything internally. So more or less, what they are doing, they are protecting their interests, because when Prince Johnson remains as chair of the Defense Intelligence, it means he's going to have assets. He's going to have debriefing. Anything coming military aid or trainings or whatever, it has to go through him. He will be aware. This is what Uncle Sam is putting blockade on.
Granted. Now, the issue is that Nathaniel McGill was the minister for state of presidential affairs and presidential affairs. He was the minister. We all know that we all know the role that position plays in the office and in the day-to-day running in the day-to-day affairs of the government of Liberia. We all know. But then the same person is also coming into government as a senator. You understand the point? He's coming into government, and the ruling establishment that also, told him to resign from his post as a minister is also supporting him as a senator.
Let's do it this way here. Let's have a quick round table here for discussion purposes. Let's see it. Yeah. I'm looking at, let's try to forecast if Maggie wins the election as senator of Mount Gilead County and goes into Senate. What will his role be like in terms of leadership? Well, that has to do something with Uncle Sam getting to be involved, maybe pro tem or majority leader or some sort of committee that Uncle Sam will be directly involved. Don't get these people, things don't go away so easily. It can be 10 years, 15 years. That's when they come back to bite you. So let's stabilize this conversation here. Cece, let me just bring you here quickly before bringing the liberal here. For discussion purposes, we satisfy Mangia to be the senator here, and he goes to Senate and he wants to seek for leadership in the Senate, maybe pro tem or whatever it is, or some sort of high profile committee where he might be doing business or, having connection with Uncle Sam. That's where the hope going to come in place, correct?
Well, yeah. And the problem there is that that's what the U.S. government, when the ambassador clarified that the sanction by no means disqualify people from participating in local elections. The U.S. was considering insofar as much as they have to deal with these individuals. And that was the reason when they went after Prince Johnson, when Prince Johnson was trying to get that position, after Prince Johnson did not get that position, they forgot about him. They don't say nothing much about Vani Sherman because Vani Sherman does not occupy a position that requires U.S. taxpayers' dollars going into directly with him, right? And so if McGill were to win, if we are here and say, okay, we assume McGill is won, he's going to be very limited. He's going to play a pivotal role in the Senate, don't get me wrong, but as far as his international his hand outside of Liberia is going to be, they're going to be slapping every time you put it out there. So he might maybe go to ECOWAS. But if the United Nations, if the US feels so aggrieved by this action, they might end up having some trouble.
They
might dig deeper, right? That he might end up being a senator that can't travel. He might end up being like a Vani Sherman or Prince Johnson, right? So for me, I think McGill is exercising his right, and I applaud him for that. And by the way, the CDC was smart to bring back their porcupine, although it is not without some problems, because they've already hung a corruption tag on him. They themselves hung that there when they dismiss him, right? So now they got to be careful when they go out to attack other parties about them bringing in people who are stolen from the government, blah, blah, blah. So I think, like my brother Marcus said, this was a decision that was made after a lot of thinking. CDC has a lot of smart people. They didn't just jump up and say, we're going to do this tomorrow. I want to believe from the day McGill announced this thing, they've been toiling with that. They've been thinking about it and been thinking, what is the best bet for CDC? Is it better that we win re-election, the president be in office, and we can deal with that, blowback later from the U.S. government, and we can put McGill, he can be senator passing around? Or is it better for McGill to go on his own and probably win, but really damage our chances of winning the presidency? And I think the CDC landed on the side of winning the presidency and dealing with all of the backlash that come later. I would have done the same thing if I were in politics. Let me just tell you that. So the CDC has done that. My only thing is they now have to deal with the side effect of what they've chosen to do.
Let me give that medication with a side effect. Let me see what the Liberal are going to take in that medication, because he already put his foot in his throat already here. The Liberal, there's a slam dunk here coming from all of the analysts with your section here, because you deliberately on purpose blind yourself to the reality, and you are playing politics. Do you want to? I want to give you a second chance,
Mr. So. But a status stand on its own. I am not retracting. I am, in fact, forward marching. That's all I
mean. We are Liberian politicians. They never take responsibility. Forward marching going where? Okay, so
hold on. You see that? You see the Good Friday we have now. You're getting ready now to start. Emojoin Kanye, you're getting ready to start. So I'm putting you on notice right away. Now, interestingly, Mr. Saul, this is my take. Now that I said the U.S. government, I put their foot in their mouth, I stand by that. But this is my take with this McGill and CDC. CDC have to be very careful with this. You have, in the absence of McGill, you have the vice president as the face of CDC. McGill is now coming in, and you will have some of his technicals trying to take involved into the day-to-day running of the CDC on the ground, or whatever you want to put it. Unless President Weah can have McGill and the vice president to have their T-to-T type conversation, and they say, let's bury the hatches. If they don't do that, I'm going to watch as McGill start campaigning. I'm going to watch the vice president move and her move. If she start fully participating like the way she is now, and now cutting back in some of her schedules, I don't know her schedule, I'm just supposing, then I would suggest that they have buried the hatches. But if you see the vice president not being involved as much as she has been in the last 2, 3, 4 months, then McGill is back. And if that's the case, then I think CDC is gambling badly, because people will see it, and I think Liberians will frown on that. When the vice president started taking the role to be the face of CDC, people sedition, some of the members of sedition that were not having their voices or the mouth open, they were coming in and making some point about CDC positively. Now, if you bring in Miguel going to be campaigning for himself, but is he going to stay in his lane? Is he going to stay just McGibby territory because he's popular as well? Or they're going to use that opportunity, the fact that he's a good campaigner and a good sedition, they will use that opportunity to try to send him other places and not just McGibby territory, McGibby County. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And knowing the vice president, she's not one that will sit down and let people push her around. She's not going to be like the sheep you hear. You say, no. I mean, like goat you hear, they say, but this one is a sheep. You hear, they say, man, you yell. She will come out and let people know. I'm watching for that. I think that would be my take on this whole thing, Mr. So.
Can I say something real quick, Mr. So? Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, sister.
If I were paid to advise the CDC, I'll give them one free advice today. The same argument I've just made about the MDR being a political institution, that the MDR was not sanctioned. Nathaniel McGill was sanctioned. The CDC was not sanctioned. If the CDC as an institution, political institution, can show that they went through convention and their partisans elected somebody that the U.S. government said has the right to run, I think they do that and allow McGill to be very influential because McGill has been harmed already by this whole sanction thing and the long time he sat on the bench. I think they use him in Margibi and Une Margibi as a way of having plausible deniability and say this was an institutional decision, not a government decision, because the CDC is not George Weah, and George Weah is not the CDC. And the CDC is not a government of Liberia. So they could do that, but then make sure that they don't have him and the president campaigning together or have him and the vice president campaigning together. They can have their cake and eat it too if they do that. But if they don't do that, they're going to deal with a bunch of backlash from Uncle Sam.
And that's it. The Liberal is finding it very difficult this evening here because there are too much of contradictions and what I will see is a conspiracy being created.
Or not contradicting the Liberal, only adding on what he said.
That's my view I'm expressing. He's going to be watching. That time he's going to be seeing to where Joel and Maggie will be going. Be like Sissy to be talking about your guy, what he's going to be doing. So is that the next few days or months to the election? Is that what that going to be a focus point, your direction now? I don't think so. Let's have a conversation here. Let's pivot from this Maggie situation here, and I will also give you the opportunity. Maybe there's some burning issue within, but we're seeing a lot of primaries ongoing nationwide. I saw some images from my own county to Grand Gita, and that was fascinating. The various people that speaking in different forms, different contexts. Our own man, Samson told Madison going on, who came to be one of the game changer gone by to CDC. This is what makes politics so interesting. And when you guys here making your pressure and your cholesterol to go above the sea level because of the behavior of these politicians, I just look at you guys, oh, I feel sorry for my senior brother. You never know. There are too much uncertainty in the game of politics. I mean, it's all about getting it out there. So we're seeing a lot of primaries ongoing here. Is that coupled with the statements of the ambassador who will be exiting Liberia in the next few days, outlining the GOL achievement here? How can we tie that to what is happening? Is that something they're going to be running with? But I'm surprised that I'm not seeing the real folks, if I say real folks, people who speaks for the government, did not make it, because these are things that you can make news out of, unless how to add the puzzles to that. Is that what lacking? I don't understand, because that is a sitting ambassador leaving, and I know he's been making a lot of statements. Sometimes falls in the columns of the opposition, is depending who it favors to celebrate. But this is the guy who outlined the president's achievement. How can we have that? What do you make of that, the Liberal?
I think this one is going to be a very tricky one for CDC. But as usual, CDC will put their foot in your mouth again. There's no question asked. This is a same ambassador, Alcara Gray, the speaker, and the pro temp. All three of them went after the ambassador that he was meddling the Liberian business. That he talking about it, they ain't got nothing to do because he evaluate Liberia because they're removing him as though when they take him out of Liberia, he's not going to be fine. And they went after him in 3 different occasions. Now look what he's saying here now. You would think that these people, these 3 gentlemen, these 3 honorable people would not take the responsibility of coming back. These are the people that need to be on this one, that need to be the spokesperson for this CDC government, because they're the one that took on the ambassador. So for you now to say, when the ambassador said that for you, the information ministry to come out and try to tote this as being a person, which it is, then I think they're not serious. But if the 3 gentlemen, the 3 honorable men that took on the ambassador negatively, when he made the statement the last time, if they can come back now and eat crow, then I think we'll be serious.
Like you eating crow tonight,
Mr. So let the liberal express himself. It's Friday. I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm enjoying the audience, and the audience love me. I'm not going to fight with you here tonight. You try to put me in different places so the audience can turn against me, but they know who I am. They know the liberal. They love the liberal. So I'm not going to fight with you. I'm just saying here in a very mild tone voice. I'm just telling you here tonight from my own analysis that these 3 honorable people should do the honorable thing now that the ambassador gone out and pretty much running campaign. And I seen thing they were saying about the ambassador. So the liberal is on the floor. That not the same thing they were saying about the ambassador running campaign for opposition. Now we're gonna accuse the ambassador of running campaign for CDC. You see where I'm going with this? So the 3
way.
Well, now you can see the only thing you can see is CDC in front of you. You don't see nothing else. But let me just say this. The 3 honorable people now need to come back.
I see where you're going. Don't mind.
Thank you. I know you can see.
What 3 honorable people are you talking about?
Honorable Cara Gray, Honorable Buffer Chima, Speaker, Honorable Abache Pro Tem. Those were the 3 people that took on the ambassador negatively the last time, publicly, in the newspaper. They made some serious accusation about the ambassador. He was mentoring the Liberian politics on behalf of the opposition and everything else. Those statements are there. So I think now that the ambassador saying, after the ambassador now lay out how good thing about what the CDC government have done, what they're going to say now?
No, so you see, you had time. This time, that's not a government that not Abache, those people supposed.
Oh, you come in separate now. You see how the CDC people can behave?
It's politics. I'm saying at this time,
you come in separate the CDC senator.
I'm just only telling you. I'm just only telling you because
he coming to separate them now. They're not the
because
government.
You are making wrong projection and wrong calculation. This one now, it's politics time, so it is the party can easily drive that agenda. But let me go to Thailand where our guy is telling about. Mr. Weir.
Yes,
here we are. Everybody, when this whole thing here is that's how I get the whole politics in the country so convoluted. When it's in your favor, it's being celebrated. Nothing, you don't see any little date on it. But when you feel it goes against you, then you put out a microscope to determine all of the political bacteria into that here. So here is the ambassador now who is about to go is outlining how significant is this? Is the CDC at this consequential time, can they use this as a talking point calculatively, politically, to kind of tweet and change minds, or like the liberal said, where somebody just do some kind of thing and put their foot in your mouth against? How can they drive this message? It's huge. The ambassador is leaving. This is the same people through the embassy, through the government of the United States embassy. These sanctions were all announced on this official. The guy living now is giving kudos or outlining the achievements of the government. That is you. With this, we are in the proximity of your electoral process.
Yeah, thank you. But before I speak to that, concerning I think CC said that the party, the CDC, is different from the government. It is true. The CDC is a political institution, and all other political institutions that have Liberians who are sanctioned. But again, we are discussing about what led these guys to be sanctioned. Is because of corruption. It was not because that they were maybe running their private businesses and the US government sanctioned them. They were in government and they were sanctioned and they misbehaved, allegedly. So if any political party should select these people to go on their ticket, they should be careful. Because in the end, you will still have to deal with the US government diplomatically. Let's leave it as it is. Now, the ambassador is a diplomat. The ambassador of the United States of the U.S. government is a diplomat, and he made remarks. In two different areas concerning the diaspora Liberians like us, referring to us that we sit outside Liberia, and some of you that are in the U.S. and try to cause problem using the U.S. soil to cause problem for Liberia. He made those remarks. Then to Liberia, he made a remark that the government of Liberia, resources that were allocated, money that were allocated to the government from the U.S. government, some of these money were not utilized. He made those statements. But in my mind, the CDC is going for election. They shouldn't sit and relax that because of what the ambassador said few days ago, it means that they have done sufficient, they have done well for the Liberian people, that it gives them that leverage over their opponent to be re-elected into office. They have to do more than ever before. Besides that, the three government officials that spoke against the ambassador. No, let us say, for example, Mr. To, if you were a speaker of the ruling establishment, if I was the representative of the ruling establishment and a pro-10, like maybe CC, you are the pro-10, if you were asked concerning what the ambassador said, you wouldn't support the ambassador. You wouldn't have supported the ambassador. You have to make a political statement. Like take for Abochie. Abochie just arrived in Grand Crew when he was asked concerning that. You didn't expect Abochie to have said, okay, what the ambassador said is true. He will say something to appease the mind of his people that he went to ask to vote for him for the second term. So let us see. But again, I don't know whether the ambassador of Liberia to the United States to the U.S. government, does he make statement like that against the U.S. government? I don't know. You guys are there.
Where you because who can go to the place to eat quesadilla from your office? The quesadilla, the palm nut you were supplied from US gave you money. They got business.
It's true. But again, some of these issues, like we are analysts, we are on the show, but some of these issues, we will talk.
I don't mean to interrupt. What you're saying is quite correct, but here's the issue. What you're saying now, you're supporting the politician to lie, because that's exactly what Abochie did.
No. I'm just telling you. If it were in your shoe as a politician, you will say something. This is practical. This is something that is clear. Since is with our old man, the integrated old man. You don't expect for Caesar to come on the radio to disagree.
Who the
No, he will disagree. He will disagree. Caesar, that is a true. It is a plain fact. Let's be fair to ourselves. He will disagree internally, but not publicly.
Marcus.
The day Caesar will start to disagree publicly, it means that he's about to leave the party.
No.
So in as much as we blame, the three government officials, they were doing their job.
You've been in Thailand too long. That are water that running through the street, the city street. I think it's affecting you. Here we say what it is, and even if the people don't agree with us, we say it. And Caesar is one of those. So get out of Thailand, come here a little bit, and let the snow come to your place a little bit.
So who the old man you talking about? How many old men we get in this one election now?
I said the interpreted man. The interpreted.
But we are no way mayor. Gonglo that old man we accepted too. The integrated.
Yeah.
That's the whole system now. You old man.
Okay, sister. You heard.
The point I want to make though, and I see what the labor is trying to strike. And look, if anybody believes that the U.S. ambassador is just supposed to sit in Liberia and just talk negatively over and over about the government, then that person is living on a rock. Because you can't tell me your government existed for over 4 or 5 years and it didn't do one positive thing, not a single positive thing. Right? That's not possible. Now, we're looking at the net. If you're looking at the net effect, yes. But the ambassador is not speaking to the net effect. And that's what my brother, Mr. Weir, was talking about. That the man is a diplomat. He's not speaking to a totality. At the end of the day, yes, you're average. You get an F or you get. That's why he's not giving a score. He's talking about sectors where the government has failed. He talked about sectors where the government has excelled. And he talked about sectors where Liberians in the diaspora have failed and excelled. It's like for you to give an average at the end of the day. He's not going to give you an average for you. He's going to give, and I think the problem, I think what the liberals are trying to lay out for the CDC is the problem where you have this almost seamless merger of the political party hierarchy and top-notch government officials. And this is one of the things we're talking about when the LPP party comes to power. We're going to make sure that, look, the CDC started something right. The CDC started something right by not allowing Morwa Malu to have a government job, right? But then they went down the line and muddied it out when you have your Secretary General, now current Secretary General, serving as the mayor of the city of Monrovia, and all those other pieces. That creates a problem because when the mayor of the city of Monrovia speaks and the Secretary General of the ruling establishment speaks, we don't get the difference between who and who. And so, if, for example, a Jefferson Koji, who was very, very hard line against the ambassador speak, which he is a government official, and I'm going to side with my brother, we are on this. The ambassador analysis faulted the legislature for taking way too much money as salary, and when they pass these things, there are back doors where even the past budget don't get down. So you were faulting Abache, you were faulting what's his name, Buffer Chambers. You were also faulting Akaras Grill, who is chair or I guess their government, whatever committee he got. And so these people have, even if it was true, if it was an executive. It's unfair because you faulting us, right? And so for me, I get that. But when the Secretary General or at the time the youth leader comes out and speaks vehemently against that, now that the ambassador has given some good things, you can't be the same mouth that go back and try to praise the ambassador when you Jefferson Koji. But had Jefferson Koji just been the Secretary General and not the mayor of the city of Monrovia, he can walk that line. And I think this is where the CDC is making a big mistake. One of their biggest weapons they should be using when they're trying to talk about this integrity issue and going back and forth should be Morwa Malu. Because Morwa Malu has been very measured when it comes to speaking harshly against anything the U.S. ambassador has said or anything whatsoever. He comes out, he say 3-4 things that that got Latin war, he say a thing, go by business. So I think if the CDC wants to talk about the issue that the ambassador just laid out, it shouldn't be a Carlos Gray coming back to prison. It should not be Buffer Chambers and other people. It should not even be the law mayor of the city of Monrovia, my own uncle Tamakoji. It should be somebody else. And this is why the LPP is saying that when we come to power, we're going to make sure that party hierarchy, leadership stays out of government. The party and the government have to be different. You can't have the Secretary General of the party being deputy minister, and you have the chairman of the party being minister. Then where do you draw the line? How do you hold people accountable? When do you know when government money is being used, when taxpayer money is being used, versus when political party raised money is being used? When do we know when we're not using the coffers of the republic to fund political parties where not everybody agree with? And so this is one of the things I see. The CDC started good, and I'm going to give them credit for that with the issue of mobile models staying out of government. But I think when they went down the road, they muddied it. And this is where some of those problems come up that the liberal was talking about, and my brother Marcos was trying to speak to here. That you don't have these differences. And so it's really hard for people to come out to take a line or to even speak, for us to say, oh, now the man speaking as a mayor, or back then he was speaking as a secretary general. It makes it difficult.
So let's
make sure we need to make sure there is daylight between leadership and political parties and government structures.
Okay, let's expand on what you just put out there. I just want to make sure, because you work closely with the LPP, which is good. So are you saying LPP-led government, if they are elected to state power, there will be a clear-cut line? You don't stay within the party, or if you are to be brought within government to occupy public office, you will relinquish party official position, be a chairman, secretary, stuff like that. Is that what you're alluding?
Absolutely, and that's what we're looking forward to. And if it doesn't happen, you know me, Mr. So I'll be one of the person right back all year yelling at them, because that is something that spells integrity. And we're going to be asking people, if we're going to be asking people to have lifestyle audit, how you going to audit somebody's lifestyle when they get paid both from the political party and from the government?
Can you control your line a little bit?
And so we talk about an audit, a lifestyle audit. And those are the things that we are looking at that are the implied pieces that you're not going to serve both in government and in party hierarchy. Nobody say you can be a member of the political party. Nobody say you can't stay be there. You can't say, oh, cheat to concede. But you cannot be chairman. You cannot be secretary general. You cannot be these higher decision-making bodies, and then you stay serving in government. Now, if you elected, you can be in the Senate and be chair of the LPP caucus, right? You can do that. You in the Senate, you can do that piece. But you cannot be both a chairman and minister of national defense, or secretary general and minister of state. That creates a lot of problem for integrity and for accountability and for transparency.
Exactly. You don't know. Okay, yeah, because it becomes a sort of a confused situation. Are you speaking as a party official or government official? Or you speaking at yourself? You don't speak at yourself because you are in multiple places. But let's go. We intend to leave from here by 10 p.m. The Liberal said he get a party to go probably that day. I don't know why he still want party the entire year. So let's go to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Elvis, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. So how you doing?
Okay, a lot of issues been touched on here. Where is your attention being drawn?
Hello to you. Hello to Mr. Goya. Hello to Mr. To, and hello to the man in the Kingdom of Thailand, Mr. Weir.
Thank you.
For Mr. Goya, I'm very, very disappointed in your tackle. You know.
One day they appointed, one day disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed. I remain to say.
The other CDC,
you bring a drinking thing to that ticket to help Congo.
The man talking about my VP.
Yeah, the VP pick. Tata Yapawolo, Ure Yapawolo, you know, Taylor. I don't know which one of the surname carrying Ure, Taylor or Yapawolo. But to be honest with you, Mr. Goya, we respect, Councilor Gongo as an intellectual, somebody who has integrity. And as an intellectual, you have to understand what may be principally good for you may not be politically expedient for you. So if you're in politics and you're going on idealism, usually it doesn't work out for you. You have to play the politics. So picking somebody to be your vice president when you're already struggling for popularity, who is a political neophyte, who is very, very much unknown on the political scene, is baffling to some of us because we know Pastor Gongo to be a very smart man. You can sometimes say you can be smart in certain things and stupid in other things. I hate to use the word stupid, but politically he's showing his naivety. You can't be that naive to think that you who we respect, yes, we know that you have integrity, but you are lacking in the popularity.
So
Pick
quickly,
somebody who is
so
even less
quickly
popular
here.
than yourself.
Quickly
Go ahead,
here.
Mr. So I didn't hear you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
quickly here. There are others on the line. We'll try to keep this time on here. Are you looking at the popularity or his articulations of the visions of counseling? I know we Liberians, most of the time, we kind of like cut through the corridors to see what suit our own taste, than looking at the bigger pictures. What is your point driving to?
My point is, vice presidents usually are going to complement and even help uh, masquerade the weakness of that, the head of the ticket. So somebody who is, lacking when it comes to being outgoing, maybe you look for somebody who is more outgoing, who is out there, who can, propagate your message and have some name recognition. Politics is all about numbers. You have to get the numbers. You can come with all the eloquence and the great plans and all of those things, fine. But you have to win in order to implement those plans. So
Okay.
if you're picking somebody who is less popular than yourself and you're already struggling with popularity, that in my layman's eye doesn't look very smart to me politically. I wanted to make that point, and maybe Mr. Goya can touch on it. Why to pick that person?
All right,
Thank you.
we'll come to that. Thank you so much. Let's go to Minneapolis 612-3168. Is that Terry?
Yeah, Terry, Mr. So.
Terry, thank you so much. We always love your contributions, always making the voice heard here. Your friend Libra is struggling this evening here massively. I think he sent you a text to come on a rescue mission. Did they rescue? You the rescue fighter?
Yeah, I'm the rescue.
All right,
The
rescue
rescue
uncle.
uncle.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. So several things involved. Like this guy that was just on talking about Telwan Gongo, VP pick, which Yakba will. I don't know why he hating on CC, but I believe that in as much as the opposition does not have anything on this man, so the only thing they can find is to discuss his name, which is very irrelevant. I think that a VP is supposed to be somebody you trust, which is a very fine thing. The people, if they have to vote, they're going to vote for the president, not the VP. So I think that Mr. Gonglo is doing the right thing to pick somebody that he has confidence in. But what I wanted to say is, in regards to this whole thing about what you guys were just talking about, the U.S. withdrawing the ambassador. I want to believe that there are several things involved. The United States foreign policy is very unstable, but it's always focused on the interests. So there are so many things that have been going. Paying attention to President Weah came to America we talked with the chief of the CIA. He went back, they dropped guys, escaped. We don't know what they're doing. Is it a goal? Is it, there are so many things, but removing the ambassador is a serious thing because I think it's going to put or relax on the CDC government. Are they giving them an upper hand to win the election? All kind of things is going to play in because to be honest with you, they've been talking about sanctioning. Since the few days, we are not seeing no sanction at all, even though there are a lot of things going on in the country. So I really don't understand. Is it that they are favoring or the CDC-led government to take state power again?
The embassy? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm talking about the American foreign policy. The embassy is involved, but I think the embassy is a minute because you must also understand that the ambassador was not the one who sanctioned Magiden.
No.
The sanction came from here. So the ambassador is just a stooge for the American foreign policy. They just implement. All right. So if America is removing this guy, that means that they're trying to make
removing who?
Relax.
Removing who? The ambassador?
The ambassador. Yeah.
What? So wait a minute. We need to be careful here. If you say removing, are you saying because of these people have term of reference? It is
his term expired though. They're not removing him.
So we need to be careful how we get these things out. It's not because of you're going to make your point. These people have terms of reference. Sometimes State Department renews it and say, okay, go because X, Y, Z, but it's strictly at their end. So I don't want us to say that, or maybe, but anyway, make your point.
Yeah, but it seems very God that have been causing all the damage. And, but anyway, yeah. So what I'm saying is that, like Sister put it right there when it comes to but one of the things we need to understand is that the scenario with Prince Johnson and Maggie are two different scenarios when it comes to the political landscape of Liberia, especially in this 2023 elections, because Prince Johnson is not in a race. Prince Johnson is not running to be president. Okay. He might be running to be senator, but he's not.
30 seconds quickly, Terry. On the line.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that the CDC-led government dealing with Maggie is not as compared to Unity Party dealing with Prince Johnson because they're dealing with Jeremiah Coon. So I think that is not working. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this simply you validate my argument that the Liberal is struggling here tonight, and so I'm happy to hear that. Let's go to Canada 202 number 9037. Caller, are you there?
Thank you. This is Wilton, brother. So
hey, Keto, good evening. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Say welcome, and the rest of the panelists.
I will not say nothing to that, but you're hitting wrong.
They're not hitting wrong yet to the end of the show. I came late. I just came from work, so I don't want to come on video. It will show me over. But anyway, I listened to the last caller. Look, America policy about Liberia never changed. It's still the same. Someday they will interfere in ways that it will shake the government. The next day they will interfere in ways that it will uplift the government. And if I can recall, I think it was during this summer administration that one of the American ambassadors said, a good friend is a friend that always tell you the truth instead of lying to you. So American policy has never changed. When it comes to Liberia, the ambassador spoke what he saw on the ground. Don't forget, prior to the ambassador giving that speech, he frowned on what she termed as people sitting in the diaspora and spilling off false information to damage the country image and also stir up trouble in the country. He got to realize it from the last comment that came from one of the person who has been pushing the idea of sanction in Liberia on government official, the person of Jerome Verde and the Spoon Network and other places that he felt that information was coming from that was not good for the country. So knowing what he knew after that thing, I think he sat and said, but hold on, what is unfolding in Liberia? Are these sanctions people put on those individuals, are they legitimate? Are they something that is very real? The information was provided, were they very real? If you would take an opposition figure from the diaspora to go and give you testimony about a ruling establishment or government official, you think it will give you fair information? When Yasini Martin or Josiah Jockett and some other guys went to Nancy Pelosi office, they read a statement there asking the American people to sanction the Liberian government and also stop supporting the Liberian government. You think they were doing it in the interest of the Liberian people? They were trying to denigrate and make this government look as bad as possible. When Henry Costa, the so-called Justina Taylor and Yasini Martin and other people went to Congress or to the Senate Lato Yeri and they gave the information, you think they were giving information based on facts? They were lying. They lied so bad that today the reality is coming in, the truth coming out, and people understand that, wow, so these people are saying they are a bunch of lies. But they have already done the sanction. They can reverse it and say, okay, the people got it online. But
Can we keep Keto on when you finish talking, please?
you can go.
Please make sure they let finish and not leave here. Let you stay on, please.
Jesus.
You can dispute the sanction. So the sanction is not cast in stone, and these people are accused.
Mr. So not
They
going
are
to
not
push back on
indicted.
this guy.
They are being excused. So speaking of the about Tewa Gongo, I keep hearing my brother say. I keep hearing brother Sisse talking. Look, one of the callers said, first of all, your political leader, even though he be in government, he got this whole integrity thing around. He's a good man, but he is not a political guru in Liberia. He got no political weight. He's a political almost nobody coming into, what you might call. Now you got when he picks somebody with all no name. What I mean, name political name in Liberia. He's not a political household name. So nobody really know him. It even makes the ticket even weaker. To the extent, that's what I'm telling you. I put you to 2029. But it look like take the 2029 and add at least 6 more years to the 2029 before you guys can even start to be relevant in our politics. Because look, Tewa Gongo will continue using the broom. Then he will pass the broom maybe to his grandson, and his grandson will lift his beam up to say, we'll start seeing maybe you will be in that the third place when it comes to our political rate.
Thank you so much. Hold on there. We'll try to keep your lips. Let's have the last caller here, 412 number 2229. Thank you so much for being so patient, caller. Good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, first this is Dr. Toto.
Oh, Dr. Toto.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody woke you, got you out of the shed. You're Kennedy knee. So yeah, let's hear you there. Good evening.
Yeah, just out of the discussion, most especially come to the PPP, to hear people that it's so disheartening to hear people that wait on as they're talking about popularity in Liberia. It's so interesting as we Liberia, we always want to hang around corrupt people that have bad leadership style, people that don't have the character to lead Liberia. Those are the type of people need to ring bell in the ear of Liberians. And that's the reason why they come in after Dr. Yagbaworo or Tewa Gongo. If you talk about popularity, talk about the white. Look at the work that Dr. Yagbaworo has done in Bongkande, in the district that he was supposed to run. And the level of work that he has carried, even the Marshmallow County, he will protect it, the Salvation Army protect it as president of that university. How he transformed that place, the type of leadership he has carried there. Even the diaspora, when Dr. Yagbaworo was here in West Coast, he served the Liberian community there as president. A member of the Bongkande community, the diaspora, when the Bongkande community were torn apart in conflict, it was through Dr. Yagbaworo leadership that brought peace in our community today. So I don't know why they're talking about popularity in relation whatsoever. Let them cry. But 3 more for now, we'll go to leisure. The result will speak for itself. They say to the bro, when coming first in Liberian politics, but nobody knows exactly coming. Nobody know coming. Where is coming today? Coming is supposed to be recording Liberian politics. So that one of the best political decisions they were going to pick that Ure, and that ticket would be one of the first 4 tickets in the coming election, and the result will speak for itself.
Okay, the result will speak for itself. As what his name? Wharton Kettle, the Liberal sent a message here that he should hold on because he's about to fire back. Sisse also in alignment with that. I'm not sure what Taiwan is saying. They are peaceful kingdoms, so they don't like to jump into conflict. The CDC, the Unity Party, LPP, always here. So the Liberal, or you don't for the
I would let Sisse to deal with that one. But all I can say to Thailand,
you and Sisse friend,
I mean, let me just say that if Thailand is peaceful, then I think we are better find someone else to go because the other man, as soon as Thailand government find out that this is group people they let that okay they're coming for you.
please. Okay, we're gonna keep it. We want to keep it exact 10
No,
p.m.
Mr. So we have. I mean, it's Friday evening. We have to put some fun here and there. No, but seriously, I would let take Sissy address that. But what amazed me sometimes, Carter is an intelligent person, but to come out on a public forum like this to make statement as though the American government is a government that is run by phone, that is unacceptable. These people do not make decisions, even if the entire population of Liberian diaspora were to go to the capital or even go see the president or whatever, they will not make that decision based on recommendation from Liberians. They will have to do some 1 or 2 consultation, investigation to see which one is what. But for him to come out to not only to suggest, but then to tie in as to why the people make that sanction decision, it's unfortunate, to be honest with you. But I'll let Sissy go ahead and
go ahead, and we're going to bring in the from the kingdom before we wrap up this evening here. What is Keto missing here?
So I don't think Keto listened to the ambassador or even read the statement as released by the U.S. Treasury. And by the way, Keto, if you go to treasury.gov, you can just search for that. And it will tell you that there was a result of an interagency investigation. Multiple U.S. government agencies coming together. You really want to think that the U.S. government can just sit down and rely on DC from you call my brother Josiah Jukai and your Senate Martinez. The people just go to the speaker. You know how many times my wife has been to the speaker office before even it was policy. We went there for this DED change. You know how many times we talk about changing the DED. You know how long it took before even people could take action on it. That somebody would just few people would just walk into the offices of the speaker, and now all of a sudden there's a sanction. But I like how my brother, he's really smart. He talked about the ambassador's speech talk today, and then he said it followed immediately the ambassador's talk on people in the diaspora. You forgot that there was a speech between those two. The one that talked about the CDC government not doing what it's supposed to do, and they're taking people money and not taking care of it. You cannot act like we're not here. We see that part.
No,
you know. But let me say to my brother Keto, we have a right to defend whichever political ideology. I don't know what the CDC got. They say it's pro-poor, but I think it means they are for poor. I mean, like saying pro means for poor, for making people poor, which is what the pro-poor is. And they have succeeded in making a lot of people poor because, all of a sudden our math don't make sense no more. You are getting a larger number, a number way bigger than the denominator, out of the denominator. We're getting 27 million out of 5 million people. So maybe we got people
man.
through that to get out of poverty and then go to their country for to reach 27 million. So I can understand that part. But look,
hold on, excuse me, let me just throw this to him. Because you're not the only one that can dish this thing out. And the young man just dish it out to you. Now you run me out of
you can't do it. You can't do a hit and run. There you go. Look, but on a serious note, though, Keto know what he's doing. He's just trying to throw fire in here. Don't mind. On a serious note, I wasn't going to speak about this vice presidential pick because I wanted the LPP to make it official and formal, and I'm going to speak to it. But I will say a few things, and I've been holding back because I wanted to follow, what other things are. You allow the party to announce, and then you come out and you defend or you get away from or whatever.
Yeah.
But I seen this thing about people making fun, trying to make fun of the name of Dr. Emmanuel King Ure Yakpawolo. And the thing is funny when you put the Mepek a Yakpawolo as being demeaning. I guess people don't understand the context. You know how people used to call a lot of AFL soldiers or the frontier force Nokos and Yakpawolos because they were from Lufa Kante? Or that when people call you a Yakpawolo or a Noko, somehow they mean that you are not educated or you are not civilized. Those people, they're still bringing those things back. But what a lot of them forget is that this Yakpawolo is a PhD. This is a guy who started school at 14 years old and got a PhD before he turned 40. This is the man you want to play with his name? The man started school, kindergarten at 14, got a PhD before 40. So we can discuss the issues, but what really pains me is when people it's okay to say the man is not well known. I get that, we can discuss that. It's okay to say, show us the math he's saying now on, where I want to get in the new math to plan. I get it. Ask me about what he's done. Pick it apart. Tear it. I like it. I get it because that is politics. But I even saw, and I'm going to name that, it was despicable, but I'm going to say it because this has been going on. Muna Fahad went on a page and posted Yakpawolo 1 and Yakpawolo 2. And she thought it was funny. That is despicable. And these are the same people that come by and say people are being tribalistic. How will people not be tribal when you come by and make those kind of statements? You know, when I say these things, it bothers my soul because I'll tell you one story. When I used to go to cathedral, my dad could not afford to send me to cathedral. But he will make sure that if it meant we ate dry rice for 4 or 5 months for you to save money to pay my tuition, he would do it. Because he believed that I needed a strong primary education. When I used to go to cathedral, you know what my name used to be? Gedwoba S. Goya. Gedwoba, I was named after my grandmother. Her name is Gedwo. I'm Gedwoba. Gedwo in Loma means heavenly slave. So like an angel. When I used to say my name, people would say, Pekin Atatato. Because when you went to school, the people you went with had these European Americanized names, and they made fun of you. They felt you were less than them because you had a Goya name, and the Goya was not legacy. But just like Dr. Yakpawolo have shown, by starting school in 14 and getting the PhD before 40, I used to tell them and say, yo, wait, if my need a title or another title, wait the first period test can. Wait the second period test can. Then you will learn the Geruba name before because you need this Geruba to tutor you. The same thing happened when we went to see the PA. So what I want to say here is that it is okay to pick apart Dr. Yakpawolo's credential. It is okay to talk about what he brings or what he doesn't bring, what he thinks is lacking. But for people to sit and try to be funny, and nobody has done it yet, and I'm not trying to push down Keto instead of just saying it, man, it's a non-entity, which is a fair statement. Yeah, it's facts. But I'm pushing because I've seen this on the internet a lot. And from people who are very, very close to serious political contenders in our liberal political system to come by and try to think that this is funny, to joke with somebody's indigenous name is sad. And these are people who sit and call themselves educated.
And they don't denounce those stuff yet. And that's the divisions and how polarized the politics in Liberia. Guys, time has catch up with us. But let me go to Tyler quickly here. He's getting ready to go to his Saturday rendezvous. He's seeing our deck up here. He's having a Saturday party today. Wait, quickly here in 1 minute, you can put it into context or make your point quickly before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think my brother, she said, need to calm down because it is just the beginning. You know, I have read
in their way. All I did mentor you know,
I can give invitation to you
because yeah, you see other people talking about saying that the other people using transformer battery, look kind of stuff, making fun of somebody health condition, you know. So that's the kind of those are the kind of people you have to deal with. You just have to cool your temper. Don't give yourself pressure before your age, before your time, my brother. But how be it? I have read some things about the vast running mate to the counselor. I think he has a good CV. He had done a lot of humanitarian work, you know. But again, you see, most of us in Liberia, we pretend that we are educated, but we don't read. We don't read, and that's the problem. Because, for instance, if somebody have named a value for me, like I'm on the show, if you use a word that I'm not familiar with, the first thing I do a research about it. So, what's the issue? Why can't you go and do a research about this man, Yakpawolo, what he has done? Because the thing about popularity that people are talking, everybody cannot be in government at a certain time. The time you are in government, I might not be in government. So the media will not follow me. In the private sector, how many media institutions you see focusing on the private sector? People who do humanitarian work. There are few media institutions. They go after the big news because after the talk show, those big news will take box and whatever you give to them. So you see, they don't go after them. They don't go beyond. How many media institutions you see reporting about agricultural story? Nothing. And there are a lot of people who are into farming in Liberia. There are a lot of people who are into education. How many journalists do we have in Liberia that specialize in reporting educational story? We don't. All of our journalists, they are just journalists for everything. So you see, and then what the problem is. So how be it? When it comes to the United States government, in America that I read about, America has one of the biggest lobbyist firms in America. So there are some things that the lobbyists sometimes go for and they advocate about. Some of these things are not real. And that is why there are some African government that sometimes pay huge money to these firms because they need good public relations outside there. And I think the government of Liberia has a problem with that. Probably they don't want to focus on that to lobby for them because there are government in Africa that the U.S. government have good working relationship with.
Senator Ted Cruz was lobbying on behalf of the government of the CDC. They pay him as a lobbyist.
Okay. Yeah. So now
sellers.
Yeah. Before I conclude, before I conclude, there are other African governments, not because they are doing well, but they have a good working relationship. I sometimes talk for the CDC. I sometimes go against them. But since President Weah took over, I'm on record. I don't know whether whether he was invited in America for a state visit, but President Weah should be the second or maybe the first president of Liberia who has not been invited for a state visit to the US. And this is alarming. We are discussing about good working relationship in as much as though took over through a coup. But what happened after next? The American government, Ronald Reagan, invited him and referred to him as our traditional ally. You understand the point? And this is serious. This is serious. But the politics is about to be played. But the guys from the LPP, they need to do more work with the vast running mate but what I found on about them is that they shouldn't tell us that the issue of election is not, numbers are not important. You need the reason why you are going to election because you want to win the election. So if you don't have somebody who can pull the vote, it becomes a problem. I think you need to work on that. Then have a fair discussion.
The clerk is sounding the bell. I just sent something in the group chat that has to do with the indictment document for Madam Cleveland Water that hopefully will come on tomorrow. The Liberal get a rendezvous this evening here. Papa, he won't go.
Indictment about who?
I say the official indictment document from against Councilor Gloria Musu Scott. I sent the document. Okay. People should take a review, and we're going to do it. Guys, I want to thank you so much, as usual.
I got no closing. I don't have no closing tonight.
You need to change your position. Calm down.
Liberal, good night. You say you won't go to party tonight, so good night. No crossings.
You listen to the Tabata Mr. So talk before you can. You know, man, I can give you closing to net. Man, blame everything.
What do you want, the man? You took all his time, and you saw your boy righteous sissy from LPP. From Liberty Party, you just took one of the piece and give it to something. So why you want to?
My closing time tomorrow.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, so you see, it's okay. Guys,
nice seeing you again.
Guys, thank you so much. Okay, well, you don't want to go. Okay, let me see here. All right. Thank you so much for being here this evening, as usual. By God's willing, tomorrow we're going to be right back here again for another edition of our program. Let's bring this here. So, well, folks, that does it this evening. Tomorrow we're going to be back here with more programming. We're going to be discussing the issue with the official indictment paper. Let's everybody does say it, and we're going to have a conversation. I'm not sure what's going on here, but have a pleasant evening. There are other things we're going to talk about it as well. Have a pleasant evening. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, Instagram, the entire line of social media is the Booker Washington Institute National Alumni Association of North America presenting to you 2023 National Convention in Newcastle, Delaware. Hey, the Tigers weekend long reunion will begin on Friday, June 30th, and from 8 a.m. straight up to 8 p.m. will be arrival of guests, registration, and hotel accommodation. Then 7 p.m. until 12 midnight will be the Tigers night out and Queen contest. Admission will be $20 only. Saturday, July 1st will begin with a General Assembly beginning at 9:30 a.m. straight up to 3 p.m. And that will be followed by the banquet and ball. Those open at 7 p.m. Address is 20